All right, let's move on. We move on to 1 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Bengals at Detroit Lions. Bengals opened up as 3.5-point favorites, and that moved to 3. I thought it was 3 right across the board. It's moved back to 3.5. Let me get some facts on this. Yes, it has. So it moved to 3 at 7:50 this morning and lasted there for 5 hours until it moved back to 3.5. That is so interesting. I really thought that the public was going to come in on Detroit and we were going to get that 3 here. 5,724 tickets in, 30% of the tickets on the Lions, 39% of the cash. It could still go back to 3. 63% of tickets, 61% of the cash on the over. And Alvin Smith says, Jimmy and Bebsie, if y'all don't bet the Chiefs, I will be mad. Make that money. You know, God, there's so many similarities to that Eagles game. I think that you're probably right. And wouldn't you think that I'm sorry I know we've moved on, but wouldn't you think that if the Chiefs were to do anything, they'd come out fired, just firing early?
Yeah, which made me kind of think of taking them first half.
Exactly. You know, I'm going to put a little note there. And then, but let's stick with where we're at. I have a little interest in the first half. Okay. Let's move on here. We're at Bengals Lions. Ron Crawford says you got to believe the Lions are on the verge of getting one. There's no doubt about it. But I just love watching them lose. Bengals coming off a heartbreaking 25-22 loss at home versus the Packers. Crosby missed 3 game-ending field goals. Evan McPherson missed 2. Joe Burrow was 26-38 for 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Was taken to the hospital after the game with a throat contusion and precautionary, expected to play this week. Jamar Chase looked excellent. 6 catches for 159 yards, 1 touchdown. And he's going up against Penei Sewell. And, God, Everson Griffin beat him on a couple spots there where you start thinking, wow, Burrow was very right. Was very, very right wanting Chase. Samaje Perine led the Bengals in rushing with 11 carries for 59 yards, tested positive for COVID on Monday. He's on the reserve COVID list. So is guard Jackson Carman. Joe Mixon's banged up. You can tell. Ran 10 times for 33 yards and a touchdown. You know, and now Perine's hurt. Could be a problem. Alvin Smith says Detroit win here. Dennis Garcia said I took Detroit plus 3.5 under 48. Cincinnati's played 5 games. 4 of them have been ended by exactly 3 points. Detroit hangs around in games. Don't trust Cincinnati to win and cover his favorites on the road yet. Dennis Trusty says, pardon my language, but these Cincy Bengals, I can't trust them every time I think it's a smash and grab. They barely win. Every time I think they cover, they don't and get crushed. They cover. Well, your language was just fine there, buddy. Von Bell was very good. 9 tackles, 3 for a loss. Trey Hendrickson had both sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and Bengals only had 2 other quarterback hits. Chidobe Awuzie picked off Aaron Rodgers, returned at 42 yards. Linebacker Jordan Evans was carted off the field with a knee injury late in the first half, did not return. He's being placed on injured reserve. Xavier Suafilo was placed on injured reserve on Friday. He started the first 2 games and then suffered a knee injury week 2 at Chicago. Cornerback Trey Waynes is on the IR. Wide receiver Mike Thomas was inactive last week, listed as questionable. Another week, another hilarious, heartbreaking loss for the Detroit Lions. And this one hurt. You know, Campbell successfully calls for the 2-point conversion with 37 seconds left. Greg Joseph hits a 54-yard field goal after missing a 47-yarder. And Campbell chokes up. It reminds me of when the Cubs were losing and losing and losing. I get some sort of sick happiness off of it. Goff with 21 of 35 for 203 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift are looking really good. Jamal Williams, 13 carries for 57 yards. DeAndre Swift, 11 carries, 51 yards, touchdown. Caught 6 passes for 53 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown led receivers with 7 catches for 65 yards. As I said, Everson Griffin beat Penei Sewell badly a couple times. But, that'll happen. He'll get better. The defense still can't get enough pressure on quarterbacks. 2 quarterback sacks, 2 quarterback hits. Quintus Cephas left in the second quarter with a shoulder injury. He didn't return. And he's being placed on the IR with a collarbone injury. Cornerback Corey Ballantyne hurt a hamstring in the fourth quarter. He's listed as questionable this week. Frank Ragnow done for the season, toe surgery. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker may return from IR this week. Bebsie, take it away. Interesting spot here. Bengals, Lions.
I think I want to take the the Lions and the points here. Because I do think these 0-5 Lions are playing better than 0-5. And I think they're behind Dan Campbell and behind Jared Goff. And a gutting loss. The second time this season they've lost from a last-second 50-plus yard field goal. And it's got to be heartbreaking. But the Bengals are still a team learning how to be good. They've started to get some pieces in place. Burrow is great. Jamar Chase, like you said, after a rough preseason where they were getting killed for not taking Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase has been excellent. But I just think that they're still young and they're still inexperienced, and it's a tough spot to go on the road and, cover the spread against a team that's hungry for that first win. I think they could still win, and it could still come on a last-second field goal, although after the 5 missed game-winning field goal opportunities in the last Bengals game, I don't know if I would trust that so much. It would be hilariously heartbreaking for the you look at you giggling over there like the dick you are.
I know where you're going.
It would be so funny to see it happen again. I'm not wishing that on the poor Detroit Lions, but holy fuck, I would see the humor in it. But I think I believe in the Lions at home this week to cover.
I don't. But I don't like the Bengals here on the road as favorites, in all honesty. We got some great stuff coming in from the chat. When Joseph lined up for the 55-yarder, I had my a couple different survivor pools online. But I said to everybody in my living room, and, not everybody speaks English, and, no one cared. But I said, he's gonna make this. And, my girlfriend remembers all the Vikings misses. But I was like, look, he's going to hit this. He's going to make this 55-yarder. And then I laughed. It's just part of the reason why you love sports. And then look, I love Campbell. I love him tearing up. I love everything that's happening to the Detroit Lions, and it's going to make them better for it. Not that the fans need this shit, but it's going to make them better for it. Let's talk about a couple spots here. Why don't we start with Slatsy says 2 weeks in a row, Lions lose on the last play of the game. Cephas now out. Pro Bowl center Ragnow out for the season. They just figure out ways to lose. Dennis Garcia, I already said, took the Detroit plus 3.5 in the under 48. Says Detroit hangs around. Snook Slayer says Bengals laying points. If you ain't scared, he ain't been around long. Says Snook Slayer. That's a well put. Ron Crawford says since he lost to the Bears, come on. And then we got more great stuff. Birdie says, I do think this is a bad spot for the Lions. Ron Crawford, by the way, on Lions money line. Says, I do think this is a bad spot for Lions from Birdie. Says, upon reflection, DG, that's Dennis Garcia, I think it has to be Cincy. If the Lions win, they're winning next week versus the Rams. This team believes in their coach and quarterback. Hoopside90 says the Lions coach is too much of a rah-rah guy. Dennis Garcia says Burrow and Chase will hook up for a pretty TD once a game, but Cincinnati struggles to sustain drives because their offensive line sucks. Sacks waiting to happen. They're 4-1 to the under for a reason. Only over was an OT game. Wow. And Dennis Garcia says Minnesota was my survivor pick last week. I had Detroit plus and under, but boy, that was annoying. Res Mob, I wish that you had not bet bag on the Lightning, but we'll get those bags back for you. I might be in that spot because the only side I did take was Vegas tonight, but I cashed first period under 1.5 with ease. At this point, I don't want anything to do with this game. I'll be interested to see what the market does. I can understand this hook being important, but I don't. I'm gonna have to sit with this spot for longer. Bebs, you want anything official for Bengals Lions, or we move on?
Yeah, I gotta pass on this. I can't lay money with the Lions.
You know, what do you think of this total though at 47.5? You lose Ragnow. You're playing with a ton of heart with the Lions. The Lions are a team that they don't excel in the red zone, but they get first downs, which for me is an beautiful under spot, and they're fighting for their coach. And then you have, as Dennis Garcia says, a team in the Bengals who can give you the big play with Jamar Chase, but can't sustain drives. At this point, 63% of tickets are on the over, 61% of the cash. If you had a free $500 bet right now on the total at 47.5, what would it be?
Under, because I don't really trust either of these teams to put up points in buckets.
Ray Charles says the Packers barely beat Cincy. You think Detroit's going to keep it close? No way. All right. Okay, we're going to move on. No move for me at this point.